What's up? It's me, Analog Attack, back again. I'm standing up. Why? I've no idea. Tony's standing up. Tony, how are you?
Good to see you, Mike.
Yeah. So
There's no chairs in the house.
yeah.
I don't
So
have a desk.
today, I'm
No
really
chairs.
happy to have Tony Pence from Celebrated Summer Records in Baltimore. How you doing, man?
Good, hanging in, hanging in.
How's the store going?
Talk to you again.
Store's going good.
Yeah, we were closed for 3 months, due to COVID.
Right.
I just reopened the store 3 weeks ago, but
Okay.
with like pretty stringent safety precautions. So
Right.
there's only 4 people allowed in at a time. Everyone has to wear a mask, lots of hand sanitizer everywhere.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
it seems like it's going pretty okay.
Okay.
Everyone seems to understand. No one's yelling, like coming in and like demanding why they have to wear a mask. Everybody's basically being cool. And as long as it stays like that, I'll stay open for,
Right.
people to come in and shop in person.
Fantastic.
You know,
Okay. So Tony, what's today's topic?
Melodic UK hardcore. The,
Melodic UK hardcore. It's a kind of wide genre. There's like 1,000 records, but we've been
yeah, yeah,
tasked with only picking five each. We
yeah,
might have some. We might we might have some that match up, but that's
yeah.
fine.
It's over.
We'll
Yeah,
just talk about the band. That's fine. So you want
yeah,
to go with your first pick? What do you got?
yeah. So this was the hardest. Here's the thing. One, two, three, and four were relatively easy to put together,
Right.
but the fifth one had to kind of represent, you know, everything else that couldn't make the list.
Right.
So there
Right.
was a lot of also rans that like
Right.
could have been here, but I really love. I chose Drive, uh, their record Out
Yep.
Freakage,
Yep.
which I really love. Just like really great. Get melodic hardcore. I'm a little less on the hardcore. It's more of a pop record.
Yeah.
I guess you know I think produced by Frankie Stubbs from Leatherface.
Maybe isn't is
Um,
that on First Strike Records? Am I correct?
and it's on First Strike Records,
Yeah.
yeah, who also put out Chain of Strength, oddly.
They did.
But and
They had a store. They had a store too in this town called Wigan, a really small town up north. They had a store and a skateboard store too, I think. Yeah.
nice,
Yeah.
nice. I yeah, I think this record probably appealed to me when I was first getting into this scene. Uh, you know, one, yeah, Frankie Stubbs produced it,
Yeah.
and that probably put it on my radar. And he sings on one of these songs, "Fuck
Yeah.
Me USA," which is topical, as things are going right now. And yeah, there was the Chain of Strength connection, which I thought was interesting because this record sounds nothing like that kind of
I
hardcore.
think First Strike put out a lot of straight edge records, and I
Yeah.
think they kind of organized tours and stuff too for like maybe Youth of Today and stuff like that. I
Yeah,
could be
yeah.
wrong.
Well, I guess Dan here is wearing a straight edge shirt here in the back.
Right.
So I don't know if that's in, there's like a Hunt Sab, kind of anti
Yeah,
hunting
yeah.
shirt here on this guy. So maybe there was some connection. I don't actually know.
Actually, I think the record shop was called Allen's Records, I think, and the label was First Strike. I think so.
Also,
That's a really kind of like '90s looking record. Like it could
yeah.
be like Ned's Atomic Dustbin or some of it.
And I was thinking about this scene that we're discussing. It's really weird because at the start of this scene, uh, these bands kind of crossed over and maybe played shows with like Heresy and
Oh,
Ripcord. And
absolutely.
that scene, yeah, there's like a weird crossover kind of at the start where those bands would play with like more thrash bands, or some of the bands, like in the case of I guess Jail Cell Recipes,
Yeah,
were a thrash band and then just kind of like
yeah,
turned into
yeah, yeah.
a more melodic band. But at the end of the scene, as it moved on, those bands kind of crossed over with Ned's Atomic Dustbin
Yeah.
and those kinds of like Carter, the Unstoppable Sex Machine and stuff.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I mean, especially bands like the Senseless Things kind of really
yeah,
crossed over into that kind of.
exactly. It's a weird. It's
Oh,
yeah. It just touched these scenes, and even the early end of it. Yeah, Heresy and Ripcord, but also maybe like the C86 scene, like Shop Assistants and Rose Hips. I feel like all those bands just played together, and
yeah.
yeah, it makes it interesting. So
That's a good choice. Good choice. So I
what do
didn't
you got?
I didn't really pick my like top five. I just picked 5 that I kind of thought were cool to look at.
Yeah. Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
Dr. Bison.
Dr. Bison, who like I didn't know anything about like in real time. This is like mid '90s, right? Mid
Mhm.
'90s, and then they were just like demo tapes and singles, I think, and then Boss Tunage kind of put them out in
Yeah,
like
Boss Tunage is a great label for saving this kind
oh,
of music, which maybe
amazing.
would
Like,
have
I
been
mean, I
lost.
never knew about this band. Like, I don't know how they did when they were, around. I mean, it's the Abs from Newport
Yep.
plus um
So it's Dickie Hammond, right?
Hammond.
From
It's Dickie
Dickie
Hammond
Hammond from
is
Leatherface. Yeah,
basically the Abs. So his guitar playing is, all over this record. But
is insane.
maybe
Yeah, he's.
a weird time for this kind of music, like mid '90s.
Mhm.
Maybe they kind of not missed the boat, but do you know what I mean? It's like I don't know.
Yeah, it's funny because that time period was, you were there in the UK to
Yeah,
see a lot of this stuff earlier, but I was in Baltimore on the wrong side of the ocean and
yeah.
didn't really discover this stuff until the mid to late 90s. So that was something, Dr.
Right.
Bison was something that was happening as we were kind of discovering things,
What
me and my friends over here.
what were kind of some of the first bands that you heard from the UK from that kind of era?
Yeah. So before I thought about this as any kind of a scene, I didn't know, anything about anything. I didn't know. I don't even think I knew even who Leatherface was. I had no idea. There's a Baltimore radio show called Rock and Roll Radio that this guy Gary did,
Mm.
and he would play stuff. He actually, even if he would just play things, and like a lot of these bands were just like
Okay.
interspersed, and I was just like so young that it didn't, I would just be like, whatever this is, it's great. And one time he was like, oh, this band is playing, and this was 1990, so it's pretty early, 91 at the latest, but Snuff, I saw at the old 930 Club. They did a tour with Sam I Am,
Okay.
and so Snuff was the first band of any of these types of bands that I saw live. And yeah, that was at the old 930 Club. It was before any of those Fat reissues. I think it was the tour for Snuff Said, the one with the really long title. But
Yeah, I'm going to touch on that a little bit.
yeah, but they shorten it to just Snuff Said.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a great record, and it was that tour. And yeah, I just like he mentioned it in this radio show, and I was like, I'm gonna go see that. And that was the first band. Yeah,
you saw them at their peak. To be honest with you, I mean, that 3-piece, the original lineup, it's like Roadhead, like the,
yeah. I saw them a few times after that. Once Fat reissued some of those records in the States, they did make it over a couple of other times. So yeah, and I saw them in Japan. One of the trips I saw them over there, and they seem to have a very huge following.
In Japan.
Yeah, when I saw them in the States, that 930 Club show, maybe this is the old 930 Club, so it's tiny. Maybe there was 150 people there, perhaps. And then I saw them in not a squat, but definitely an abandoned kind of building in Baltimore. And there was maybe 150 or 200 people there.
Right.
When I went to that show in Japan, there was like 3,000 people losing their mind,
Yeah.
So,
we'll talk about Snuff more later.
Yeah,
What's your
oh yeah. So it's me again?
Yeah.
All right. So, well, we were discussing this just a minute ago. So, again, there could have been a lot of bands that could have fallen into this slot, but overall, I'm going to say Senseless Things. This one is Postcard CV. Yeah. I mean, as you're saying, they had a long career. They became more and more pop, I guess, as they moved on. But this record still has remnants of hardcore and punk butted right up against with like really awesome pop songs. There's Shoplifting, which is basically a hardcore song, or punk, fast punk hardcore song. And then the hit Too Much Kissing.
That's my favorite song. That's that was always great when they played that live. Like, that build up. Like,
and never got to see them. So
in that song, it's like,
oh yeah. And I'd definitely be remiss. And I mean, another reason, right? Like all their artwork is outrageous. Like Dayglow. I don't know if they purposefully were taking a page from the Dickies in that like every single is like hot pink and neon blue. And then Jamie Hewlett from Gorillaz and Tank Girl.
That's right. Yeah.
Artist.
Right.
Yeah, he did.
Correct.
not every cover, but I guess he did like a really long run. I've got like, 15 other Senseless Things records, and his artwork is on most of them,
Wow.
Yeah. Makes it stand out to me. Just such a, I don't know,
Yeah,
pop.
I guess like Mark, the singer, they were really into the replacements, but it comes through a little bit in the music, and they were and like Soul Asylum and Replacements. Yep. They were really into those two bands.
Those later records, that are like, they look more, that last record, Kingdom of the Senseless, and maybe there's like a single, Christine Keeler, that it's like darker, they purposefully, I think, stepped away from the Dayglow and Jamie Hewlett's artwork, and the songs are more, Soul Asylum replacements, and they're great. They're still awesome tracks. Marquette is amazing, but I kind of dig the Dayglow, still punk.
I like it. I think the bass player, didn't he join that band Three Colors Red?
Oh, I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, and they were like a huge like indie rock band. They got really big.
I think I missed Three Colors Red entirely, but that's cool.
Let's not talk about them too much. But I always thought that Senseless Things were kind of aiming to kind of get big. Maybe they had that feeling about them quite early on.
Yeah, especially record. Maybe it's the record after this.
Yeah,
or maybe there's one after that. But First of Too Many.
Yeah,
I think they were really shooting for
dancey beats.
Changes. It definitely is there a Red Hot Chili Peppers influence on that record a little? The bass is up front and very, very, I don't know. Yeah. So that's why I still like that record. And again, the record.
What's the connection with them and Perfect Days? Is there a connection? Or is that's the stupid? I'm sorry.
I do have a Perfect Days record.
There you go.
There you go. It's not. This is not in my actual top 5 here.
I thought you might have it around. So
I do love them. I think I don't know if it was a Senseless Things person, but Wolfie from the Stupids is in Perfect Days.
That's it. Yeah. Sorry.
And it's almost, honestly, I mean, it's somewhat interchangeable. These Perfect Days records are very bright and poppy.
Yeah.
And the songs are just like almost away from the Sam I Am melodic UK style and more towards just like proper pop punk, I guess.
Regular Jailbreak. That's a Perfect Day song, right?
Regular Jailbreak.
That's a good one, right? That's a good song.
Yeah. I think it's on this one, actually.
Yeah.
No, it might be on. I have another one here too. Again, these are just scattered everywhere. So yeah.
Nice. Okay. My next pick, sticking with Dickie Hammond.
Oh, is it HDQ?
Yeah.
Love it.
Always like a really amazing live band, really energetic. Obviously, really like American influence though. Real like Dagenham, kind of vibe. But Dickie Hammond's guitar playing. Unfortunately, there's the redneck rap is on this record, which kind of brings it down a couple of points. But
so many bands of that time period tried their hand. Even Heresy, right?
Yes, right. So Stupid, Heresy, HTQ. I think they got it from Youth Brigade though. The Boys in Blue, Youth Brigade. They had that.
Yeah. Yep.
I think that's where it started. But what I was going to say, but the Peel sessions from this era, there's one or two I think are amazing.
I don't think I have the Peel sessions. I was running up to this. I was breaking out tons of records and listening to them again, and I did break out.
That's the first album.
I don't know if it's the first.
There might be even another one. There might be one when they're actually tongue drawn and quartered.
Maybe. Yeah. I think that might be the first one. This might be the second one. Somebody can correct us in the comments. But definitely great. And not to, Dickie Hammond is like, outrageous.
Exactly. And then the record after this, they kind of like slowed it down a bit. It's a good record, Soul Finder.
Yep.
And I kind of get
laying on my floor. It's hiding on the floor, but it's there as well. Yeah, definitely more of a.
I feel like they're going for maybe a 7 seconds like Soul Force Revolution kind of that kind of.
This artwork on the back of this record with the, that's
That's really 90s.
I don't know what's happening there, but
That's probably
I
like
don't love
90
that.
or 91, I reckon, that record.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
great live band. Really energetic.
Yeah. I wish I
guess
could have
they
seen
never
them.
made it
How
to
many
the
times?
States.
Yeah, they never played in the United
Right,
States. Yeah, as far as I know.
right.
So, but you saw them in this time period, right?
Yeah, in like real time. Yeah. Peak
Yeah,
time. This
that's
like
amazing.
this era. Yeah.
Yeah,
Very cool.
that's absolutely great.
HDQ. I mean, maybe a little bit under the radar for people.
Mhm.
Maybe a little bit. Not as popular as some of the other bands, maybe.
I don't totally understand the the ins and outs of all of this, but I guess they existed. Dickie was in Leatherface, then
Right.
he wasn't in Leatherface for a while,
Right.
and then he rejoined, and then he wasn't again, and then HDQ reactivated and made new
They
records.
did. I have it. It's not bad. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was lucky. Leatherface had never made it to the United States
Right.
in their original incarnation, but once they did that split with Hot Water Music, they did come over, but without Dickie Hammond for like maybe a tour or two.
Right.
I saw them on those tours, and I was like blown away. I loved them.
Yeah.
But then they did come over and do a tour, and they brought Dickie with them, and the night and day. I mean, just watching him play guitar was outrageous.
Yeah, he incredible, absolutely incredible. Yeah, like next level.
Insane.
Yeah. All right, man. What you got next?
Awesome. So next, this was a little hard. I had a little crisis of conscience between two records. There's the first record I heard, and then there's my favorite. So this is the one that I chose, which is Snuff. Okay. It's a little hard to see here, but Snuff.
Yeah.
And this is Reach.
Second album. Yep.
Which is the third record.
Third album. Yeah.
I had to choose between.
Yeah. Really?
EP.
Wow. Interesting.
Well, so here's the thing. This EP was the first thing that I heard.
Okay.
Workers' Playtime, again, before these fat reissues, Workers' Playtime, and it was an import in the US. And I like the fact that, they were doing commercial jingles. There's some thrash, there's covers, there's some horns happening, you know what I mean? Which normally it's not my style, but there's a lot happening on this record. It was a fun introduction to them.
Right.
Still, it's fun, but when I listen to Reach, it's like none of that is almost here on this record. No. It's produced much more punk sounding. There's no horns on it as far as I can remember. I listened to it recently. It's like super catchy and just, it doesn't really have anything to do, I feel like, with it. Just sounds great. And it's just awesome. And of course, like, some their mod obsession. There's like a scooter on the back. And
wow. So that was good timing because
love it.
Yeah, man, this band were like such a breath of fresh air when they came out. I can't tell you, like, out of the blue, they just came out with like that single, and then this, like, fully formed, like, amazing musicians. Like, every song is like incredible, catchy, like, energetic. And it's not really American influenced either. They definitely kind of had their own like thing going on. And they were into all the mod stuff and soul and stuff, and the Who, and I think
no horns on this record, but Hammond organ. Hammond organ on a couple of tracks where I think that's maybe showing some of the soul kind of mod influence a little bit. Also, weirdly, this record, I bought it right when it came out, and I took it home, and I'm already familiar with the band. And I think I was like late at night, so I put the record on, and I was going to drift off to sleep while listening to it, right? And I put it on, and I get through most of side one, and I don't know if you remember this one, but there is the song Hellbound, which is like a ridiculous, out of nowhere, hard SOD mosh.
Yeah.
No reason, there's no commercial adverts or like horns on this record, but they were like, why don't we just do a song that's an instrumental that sounds like March of the SOD?
But there's a little bit of that on this record too.
Absolutely. Oh, but they use samples from Hellraiser, and I was like, laying in the dark, listening to this pop punk record, and all of a sudden it's like these horrific samples from Hellraiser, and it scared the living shit out of me. I practically like jumped up out of it. I was like, what the fuck is going on? It's like terrified. So yeah.
I was kind of thinking, who did that like metallic thing first? Was it Snuff or the Hard-Ons? Do you know what I mean? Because the Hard-Ons.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean the hard-on stuff. Yeah, they were. I mean, earlier for sure, right? They were like, I mean, that first single is like, oh boy, I should know, right? Because I'm like such a super fan.
I forget dates and the timeline.
Like, it's pretty early though. The hard-ons were like really early 80s. You know what I mean? Like for those first couple of singles are like 82 or 83 or something. I feel like, and they were, you know, a different kind of thing though. The hard-ons weren't really going for like a hard mosh thing. I feel like that was like, I don't know what motivated Snuff to include that in their stuff. I think the hard-ons just wanted to play, you know, thrash metal and pop punk and just like at the same time or something, you know. But yeah, Snuff for sure. It sounds like, you know, SOD or something, which is just ridiculous, you know, but a great record. So
I saw Snuff on their farewell last gig ever. In whenever that was, like 1990, like in London.
And that's the Kilburn National.
Kilburn National.
Yeah.
I think
there's a live CD.
Yeah,
I think of that. So, yeah.
Midway Still, Senseless Things, and Leatherface supported.
That's insane lineup right there.
Crazy.
Almost in the many also rans, of course. Midway Still.
Yeah.
I Won't Try. That's the hit single. Yeah, it's a 12-inch. Yeah. But the song, I Won't Try is
fantastic. Yeah,
absolutely great. So
absolutely. So I guess I showed my Snuff already, so that means it's back to you.
It's back to me already. Okay, so where are we at? This is, I guess, number 2.
I have like 2 more in my 5.
2 more as well. So yeah, we're doing pretty good here. So this one was really hard. This was tough. My number 2. I mean, right? This is just fun, right? Nobody's holding us to the fire for being exact, right? So I've got both Minx and Mush.
They're your last 2?
Oh no! This is number 2.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, my cats who are around the house somewhere are named Minx and Mush. I love these records so much. I think coming up, everyone says that Minx. No, I'm sorry, Mush. Everyone, basically is like, says Mush is like far and away their favorite. For a bunch of years, maybe I was just being a contrarian. I don't know. I was just like going heavily with Minx. And nowadays, it's so hard. I don't know. Maybe I'll stick with Minx just to keep a little contrarian streak, but both of the records are basically perfect. So
they stayed at my house one time. Like they played just down the road in this like indie club, like just down the road, and like they stayed at my house. But I think they were just all really drunk and just like passed out. Like I think that was the first time I saw them, and they played like Not Superstitious. I'd never heard the song before, but I was singing along. Like, you know what I mean? It's like so powerful, and like just the chorus. I was singing. I had no idea what they were saying, but I was just singing along. It was like,
I was very lucky that there was a second wind for that band in the United States, because I think that I don't know. I don't know very much about Hot Water Music. They were never a band that was really on my radar, but I have the understanding that they were such fans of Leatherface that is how that split record on BYO came about. And then that is why, you know, they started doing those tours in the United States. Was kind of just off of the, you know, I guess Hot Water Music, like just being like, hey, please come over, you know, we'll do a tour with you or whatever. And so even though I don't really have any feelings one way or the other about Hot Water Music, I have to thank them for
of you, sir.
doing that split. And then I got to see Leatherface like 10 times in just a few years. And I never would have, you know, otherwise would probably have never seen them.
I refer to that record as Leatherface's one-sided record.
Absolutely one-sided record in the history. And you know, maybe again in the future, if we do one of these, maybe we should have a top 5 one-sided records.
Okay.
Although we now know that would be both
I
of our numbers.
felt that like because they signed to No Idea Records in the States. Is that am I?
They did, yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if that was good or not. I don't know. Like
the thing about No Idea was that at a time when records, this is just like inside baseball for owning a record store,
right?
as price, as wholesale prices for punk records were on the rise, right. No Idea kept things very inexpensive. Okay. So you could order those Leatherface records, really inexpensively, and right. if you were me and you liked them, you would just play them in the store. And you could just move them. You could just turn people on. Right. I always say this, I think that the wholesale prices of records are outrageous. And basically, if you just mark stuff down a little bit more, you can just move more of it. You know what I mean? And like more people will become fans. Right. And I do think that, again, there's some records on No Idea that I like and some that I don't. But Leatherface, they got a push. You know what I mean? Like a huge push. And No Idea kept those records inexpensive.
So was No Idea a distributor as well as a label?
They were both.
Both.
Yeah. And unfortunately, I do think they collapsed as a distributor. And I do believe unless somebody is, those Leatherface records, I think, are out of print. The U.S. pressings of them are out of print.
Mush hasn't been officially repressed. But that's on Roughneck, but that's a different story. But
yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. There were some weird things. Those two records have I don't think they've ever gotten like a really normal, common U.S. pressing ever, which is like kind of crime.
That came out
for Record Store Day a couple of years ago. That was the box set. Yeah, they did a box set that I think had most of Minx and Mush on that, and that got some, but it was expensive. It was not
just really bad design on that.
Leatherface are really hit or miss with the artwork.
Tony, I might as well bring this up because but for me, this is like hands down like my favorite. Like
it's outrageous.
Yeah,
every song.
Perfect. One of those. It's perfect, except the cover. But that's Minx was kind of a step down, at the time,
Yeah,
it's not as just.
I still love it, but you were there at real time, though.
Yeah, so it was kind of like Iron Fist after Ace of Spades kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's still good. But
yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. Definitely like Desert Island. This perfect.
Yeah, any mood. You know what I mean? Like I feel.
Can
I
tell a really stupid story? Like I bought this record when it came out, and I was living in the squat where Leatherface stayed. And this friend of mine guy was like drunk and he fell over and he fell onto the record player and like he broke the record. And I was a bit of an idiot in those days and I made him like go down to the shop and buy a new copy. It's just the fact that you could just go down to the shop and like buy, and he just went off and he came back and said sorry, and then like he came back with a new copy. Like,
yeah, there's nothing. No, there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
This is not that copy, by the way. It's another one.
It's a different one.
Different one.
Absolutely.
We got one more each, right? One more each.
Yep. I think. All right. So mine's probably no surprise to you. It's also the only record on the list. Oh yeah. Do you get to go now?
No, it's your turn.
Okay. I lost track.
Me too. It's okay because we had like some same choices though. But that's cool.
Yeah. I think that's like probably the way it is.
I have a feeling that this one also might be the same.
I love it. Hey, that's awesome. That'll make me happy, or it may be close enough that it's that's possible.
Let's do the big reveal.
Yeah. So this is the only one that didn't have an alternate. Like no alternate. It's just like number one, even if all the other ones are whatever. And it's Mega City 4.
Oh.
Magic. Yeah.
Interesting.
So Magic Bullets, it's the very first Mega City 4 record I ever heard. So of course I'm not there in real time. You know what I mean? I've heard this after they broke up. For me, so my friend, I would be remiss in saying my friend Dwayne made a cassette for me and he put this record on it. And then I took that record on a tour that I was roadieing with my friend Chris's band, who also is a huge fan of all these bands. And I just like, he's like, here's a tape for you for the tour. And I'm like, thanks. And, the first long stretch, put it in, start, and it's perfect circle. And I'm just like, every, goosebumps everywhere, like feeling hot, just thinking about it. You know what I mean? Just like, oh, holy shit, this is like a life-changing moment. I mean, that record just like stuck in me like a knife or something. I mean, I probably listen to it. I mean, constantly listen to it.
Didn't you become friends with Wiz? Am I right in saying that? Or
I was never, yeah. So what happened was he did a band after Mega City 4 broke up. He joined the Doughboys for a little bit.
That's right.
Yeah, co-wrote a couple of songs on. I brought it just so I have a little show and tell. He co-wrote a couple of songs on this Doughboys record.
Okay.
Turn Me On, which never had a vinyl pressing.
All right.
Yeah, he did a couple of songs on that, and I think he played with them live. He's credited as writing songs on that record, but he's not like credited, I think, as a band member. But he is, he played live with them, I think. Right. He's in the music video. There's a music video for a song, and he's in that. Right. But yeah, after that, I think he did do a band in between. But anyway, he ended up doing a band called Ipanema.
That's right. Yes. Yeah.
He put out a 10-inch and maybe a 7-inch and a 10-inch. And when that record came out, he sent me an email and he said, I notice a lot of people in Baltimore talk about Mega City 4, which is like
AKU.
Constantly, like all the dudes in Deep Sleep, all our friends, just constantly referencing and talking about Mega City 4, like our lives depended on it. Every person just put that tape in the next person's hand, forever. And he was like, my new band, Ipanema, wants to come to the US. Would you mind booking a show for us in Baltimore? And so we did a show for him in Baltimore and a show for him just a little bit out of Baltimore.
Cool.
Just like 25 minutes away or whatever. And he came to Celebrated Summer and stayed at our houses the nights of those 2 shows. And I don't know, it's weird. I don't understand how popular or not popular they truly were in the UK.
It seems like they had moments. Kind of on the verge of getting into that senseless things, wonder stuff, but never really got that far.
Right. I see footage where they're playing like festivals and stuff in front of a lot of people, but I never really understood. But to us over here, it was like,
well,
we couldn't believe.
I always saw them in really small clubs, but I only saw them in the really early days. So
and they played in the United States. I mean, after seeing that Snuff show was like 90-91, and Mega City 4 did a US tour. I don't exactly remember. It might have been 92-93. Somewhere I have a tour shirt for it. Like a true poser. I was not there, but they did a US tour, but I didn't know anything about them until years later when they had like completely broken up. So to us, we were just like, they were like, we really, really thought the world of them. And to meet Wiz, I mean, you would never say it was, but we just got to hang out with them for a little bit, and the most humble and nice.
I've always heard that he was like a really good bloke. So.
Yeah, just so like
I think you're going to be quite chuffed with my last pick.
Love it. All right. Oh, yeah, amazing. I have it behind me here.
Beautiful.
Filed away. I have it here, of course.
I had the first 2 singles first, like Miles Apart, Clear Blue Sky, right?
Clear Blue Sky, yep.
I think they were the only 2 singles that came out before. There might be one more. Dancing Days.
I shouldn't walk away. Sorry. Yeah.
But yeah, everybody, I'm left by myself now, so I just my last choice is Mega City 4, first LP, Decoy Records.
Oh, sorry, Clear Blue Sky. Yeah, Distant Relatives, Clear Blue Sky.
Yeah. So I had the singles first, then this came out. Bought it right when it came out. It's quite a lot more polished than the singles, actually. but it's a beautiful record. Really Beatles-esque
Yeah.
melodies, like, and yeah, I saw them quite a few times. But they were definitely, I don't want to say mellow, but definitely a different vibe to all the other bands that we've talked about.
Yeah, I mean, they have just huge heart. Like that's
Yeah,
what I think about,
yeah. And
whether
very,
it's the
just very
earliest.
like British, like Kinks, Beatles, very kind of, I don't
Oh
know,
yeah,
like they're just that real English feel to them.
they do a Beatles cover on
Mm.
some random CD compilation I have. They do a Beatles cover. I can't remember what one off the top of my head, but yeah, very
Brilliant, brilliant
British.
band. I'm ashamed to say I've never heard Magic Bullets.
Ah,
Yeah, but
they
I'll check it out. I've got
yeah.
another one that Magic Bullets is the second or third album.
So it's that one, and then it is actually. I'd have to look to
That's
figure
okay.
it out. But the red covered record, Sebastopol Road,
Right,
is like I think a record where they hit the most of their popularity, and
right.
that record sounds very. It's like much more indie. It's like super
Yeah,
produced. It's
yeah,
much more indie rock. And yeah, they had. I think I've seen videos of them playing on like not Top of the Pops, but like some of those British
yeah.
shows where they would play like live on TV and stuff like that. I think that was kind of the height. And that record is not. Yeah, it's a little less punk sounding than
Yeah.
that one. More indie. And then Magic Bullets is like the last record, Soul Scraper. It sounds nothing like any of the other ones. It's got
Right.
like more groove riffs.
Okay.
It almost sounds like it's influenced by like first like grunge. It's like very
Okay.
heavy and a little less poppy. And
Right.
Magic Bullet sits right in between those two,
All
kind
right.
of I guess
Okay.
like between
I'll
those
check
two
it
things.
out.
So
But that's a good way. That was good that we ended on the same band. Perfect.
yeah, 34,
Well,
my favorite.
Tony, we're out of time. Unfortunately, we could talk for hours,
We
but
could
we
we have
can't run out of time. We'll do another one sometime. We'll think about it. But
absolutely.
good to see you, mate. And congratulations for Saturday.
Oh yeah, getting married Saturday.
Getting married. So
Yep, excited. Thank you for having me on, Mike.
thanks. See you again, mate. So until next time, stay healthy and stay clean.